Hey, so I was in the NICU today. I had a 3-week-old male patient. He was born at 37 weeks, 2 days gestation. He is now 3 weeks old. So he's actually right at when he's at his due date, age-wise. And so when he was before he was born, when he was in utero, he was diagnosed with trisomy 21, which is Down syndrome. Um, After he was born, he was actually diagnosed with a congenital heart disease as well, which is a common thing to have in trisomy babies. So at birth, he weighed 2,830 grams, which is 2.83 kilograms. And he's now weighing in, as of today, he 3,170 grams, which is 3.17 kilograms. At birth, his APGAR score, so at 1 minute was an 8, and then at 5 minutes it was also an 8. So his real reason for being in the NICU isn't necessarily for weight or not scoring good on the APGAR, but his is more for the trisomy. His biggest complication that's associated with his disease is going to be feeding. They want to make sure that he is eating well so that he can thrive. And right now, he just doesn't have the muscle tone and the ability to hold his head in the right place and use his muscles, like his tongue, to eat properly. So they are just trying to train him how to eat so that he can go home. They're thinking maybe in the next couple of days he should be at that point. So in terms of medications, he's really not on any, considering he's quite healthy. So he really only had one scheduled medication, and that was actually was vitamin D3 to go along with his Enfamil formula. That is, they wanted 1 milliliter daily, and so that was just added to his morning formula. And then he also has as needed medications. Really, just one of them is called Happy Hiney, which I loved. Basically, like diaper cream for any kind of diaper rash. Yeah, and then so for this particular infant, he was on the 19th percentile for weight when he was born, and he's actually steadily kept at the 19th percentile. So he's growing, but he's not that's why they're working on those feedings and making sure he eats the right amount of calories per day, so that he can start going up a little bit on that percentage for his weight. Let's see. So his feeding schedule, basically infant formula, Enfamil, 24 ounces. He also has a nasogastric tube, and that's just in place because he does have so much trouble eating that they obviously try to coach him to eat from a bottle. But if he can't finish it all, then they put the rest of it through his NG tube so that he gets those calories so that he can keep growing and get healthier in terms of weight. And so his bottles are every 3 hours, with a 55 milliliter minimum per session. So basically, like I mentioned, feed by mouth, and then whatever is not fed by mouth, they would put into the NG tube. And then another thing about NICU babies, they especially with this one, because he does have an NG tube, they actually measure the abdominal girth of the babies to make sure that the abdominal viscera is healthy, that there's no diseases, nothing, no necrosis in there. That's a very dangerous situation, and so they basically get a baseline, and then they at each feeding basically, or every time she changes his diaper, she would measure his waist just to make sure that nothing has changed. And then in terms of education and teaching, obviously not to the patient, but to the parents. We try to encourage the moms and dads to be in the room and hold the baby, and also help with feedings, maybe pump while they're in the room with the baby. And then also, just to kind of create that bond between them. So again, basically he's just waiting on, that approval that he's feeding properly, that he can take a full bottle before they're going to discharge him. But he was doing really well when I was there, so it was really fun to see. I thoroughly enjoyed my NICU experience, and I can't wait to go back in a few weeks. And that's about it. Thanks.